generous words, but more importantly for what you do for workers every day and for your friendship. You're a great leader and a great friend, and let's hear it for Bob Ryder. I just want to very briefly thank Operating Engineers Local 399 for the hospitality tonight. You're wonderful, and we appreciate everything you do. I want to thank the young workers for your critical imagination, all the help you give us to being a better labor movement. Thank you. I want to ask all of you to look on your table. You'll see a list of sponsors. These sponsors are with us every day. These are real friends. They're not people that come along once in a while. So if you could do business with them, I would urge you to do that, because that's what friends do. Friends, you treat your friends right, and these are our friends. So take a look at them. Let me say thanks. Jan, for what you do every day for us and for the fight that you put on, this is a congressperson that you don't have to lobby when it comes to workers' issues. She's in front of the back, not behind the back. To the board members of the Illinois Labor History Society, I want to thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here, and doubly so because of those who we are here to honor tonight, Connell Smith and Regina Polk, and God bless their memories. And Eddie, congratulations, buddy. I know what it is whenever you have a dad that you can be proud of. Congratulations. Appreciate you, Val. And Bob, I just want to thank you for all you've done, for all the people you've helped. And there are literally millions of workers living better because of your efforts. God bless you. So, I want to thank you, and thank you for inviting me to speak to you tonight. This is a good time to talk about labor and history. Because listen, never in my lifetime have American workers needed the benefits of collective action more than they do today. And I'm not talking about some workers. I'm not even talking about most workers. I'm talking about every single worker in America who counts on a paycheck. If you're so rich in America that your paycheck is just the icing on the cake, but you can survive fine without it, then this economy's been treating you just fine and dandy. But if you're anything like the rest of us, these are hard times. Every night across this country, the vast majority of working people sit down to a big plate of worry. On that plate are car payments and house payments, college tuition and student loans, and the holiday season, and the cost of utilities and groceries. And that's just the predictable stuff. 5 years into the economic recovery after the Great Recession, wages for most of us are still falling. The last time wages fell this much was during the Great Depression in the 30s. But America's entire economy was crumbling back then. Today, GDP has been rising since 2009. Corporate profits are at record levels. Productivity's been going through the roof. But the overwhelming majority of us, see, we haven't gained any benefit at all from all of that. This is a time that has no parallel in history. April wage numbers gave us some sobering, and I mean sobering news. Because they tell us that there's a skills gap in this country. If there was a skills gap in this country, then wages for those skills should be rising. First 6 months of this year, wages earned by workers with advanced degrees fell by 3%, more than any other segment of the American workforce. And for generations, some white-collar workers in America grew accustomed to the idea that, well, the ups and the downs of the blue-collar working class was not something that they really had to worry about. Well, the economic conditions of today have sure demonstrated the error of that idea. Every single worker who depends on a paycheck to pay the bills shares the same basic challenges. We work harder and harder. We produce more and more for less and less. And it's exhausting. And it saps you of all your strength. And it saps you of all your hopes, all your dreams and aspirations, because all you want to do is get past today. See, at the AFL-CIO, we polled people who voted in last Tuesday's election. And here's what we found. 54% of the voters in last Tuesday's election reported that their family income fell this year. And 33% said their income remained flat. Now let me put that together for you. 87% of Americans who cast ballots last Tuesday are heading into this holiday season with the same pay or worse pay than they did last year. And well, prices aren't the same now, are they? Prices climb, but the fortunes of our families are falling. And that fact translates into an enormous amount of pain, an enormous amount of anxiety in America. And I got to tell you, it's not right. In the richest nation on the face of the earth, at its most rich point in time, 97% of America's workers have a flat income or a falling income, while that little sliver at the top walks away with more and more and more of what we produce. You see, brothers and sisters, I've been thinking about those midterms elections, and quite frankly, I have a few things to say. Here's the first message. For the members of the Republican Party, 6 short years ago, the American public sent you a loud and a clear message that we don't want economic stability and price collapses of a boom and a bust economy. This year you've won another chance to put your ideas into action. And unless you want voters to send you packing in 2 short years, this better not be another bait and switch. You'd better offer something better than deregulation and greater income inequality and fewer jobs. And yes, by that I mean no more tax cuts for those who don't need it the least, but they pay for it by getting public services that we do. And I have a message for Democrats too. The American people gave you a message this year too. if you don't address the job crisis and falling wages, then to them, you don't matter much. No more compromises. No more compromises when it comes to believing in and investing in the future of America. You see, for too long, too many politicians in the Democratic Party have tried to have it both ways. To be the party of the people and to be the party of Wall Street. But they're neither. Wall Street doesn't want Republican light. They always prefer to drink the real thing. And working people don't want it either. And here's my second message for Republicans. See, if any Republican wants to step forward as a leader of the priorities of working people, well, let me tell you, we're all ears. And we would like it if we heard that. We'll gladly work with you. We want results. Results. Here's my final message, and this one is to Democrats, Republicans, and independents. No more lousy trade deals that suck jobs out of this country. We can't afford them. Our communities can't lose the jobs. Our neighborhoods and our homes can't have more and more mothers and fathers that are thrown out of work. It's too hard on all of us, and it's too hard on the country. You see, honestly, America's confidence in our own ability to lift ourselves up by the virtue of hard work has been badly damaged by decades of defeat. And if you support more bad trade deals, you're not only failing to help us, but you're swinging the axe that hurts us. See, last week's elections hurt. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't worry about the new attacks at state houses and in Washington that we're bound to see on working people. You see, I know how much harder anti-worker politicians have made life for so many working people. Since the first wave of hard-right governors won office in 2010 in the U.S. House, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and elsewhere. But I gotta tell you, I'm not worried about the opponents who think our labor movement is done. You see, there have been many times when working people and our labor movement got hit hard, and we hit the ground. Right here in Chicago in 1894, Eugene Debs led the National Railway Union boycott of any train pulling a Pullman car. And the strike brought rail traffic to a virtual standstill all across the country. Until the Army broke the strike and they put Debs in jail. People said labor was dead then. It's been said before, and it'll be said again. In the 30s, American labor was on the ropes, and thanks to the hard work and the courage and the genius of men and women whose names that you all know, our labor movement came roaring back, and we rebuilt the American middle class. Yet those old heroes, as great as they were, weren't the reason why labor grew from the ashes of the Depression. We came back because the situation required us to organize. And because the voice of American workers was too strong to be silenced. When workers came together, all the power and money of the corporate trusts couldn't silence us. They couldn't make us go away. They couldn't render us irrelevant or declare us dead. See, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The labor movement is so much bigger than a list of jobs and professions. We're greater than the sum of our members. See, we're the voice of all of those who get up in the morning and go to work. We're the people who clock in and clock out, who strive and struggle, who fight and scramble for just a little bit more, so that we can earn a better life for ourselves and for our families. We're a movement led by the aspirations of working people. And I have no doubt, none at all, that America's working people today are every bit the equals of the working people in the 40s and the 30s, in the 1890s and the 1900s, and all those that came before us. See, look at the workers at Walmart, standing together to make a difference. Look at fast food workers, rising up for what's right. Look at the successes of traditional unionism. Workers are signing cards, brothers and sisters. Workers are winning first contracts. Unionism works. Solidarity works. And I can give you dozens and dozens of examples. And this month and beyond, you'll see more of it. As retail workers stand together around Black Friday and throughout the year for higher pay and scheduling. You see, working people, us, we're the power behind the American economy. We're the power. In the work that we do on the job, and in the food and the shelter, and everything else that we provide ourselves and our families with the pay that we earn. Our movement has faced down challenges before, and we'll do it again. And we'll keep trying until we find out what works, and then we'll use it. We'll use that, what works, to organize, and then we'll organize some more, and then we'll organize yet some more. See? We're reinventing our labor movement. Now, as we speak, it's happening. We're reawakening the idea that workers have power. And when we start to win again, and I mean really win again, we're going to see it grow like a wildfire. Because the need is there, sisters and brothers. The need is great. The want of workers is huge. People want to work for a better life. We do. That's the real American dream. See, it's the vision of a future that we share. Whatever your background, whatever you do, we're all one. Because this is America. This is our legacy. This is our fight. And we'll rise together and stand together, and we will march together, and by God, we will win together for you and for me and for all of us and our kids and our grandkids and for the future that we can live, will, and must live. Together, that's what we're going to do. tell you, I've been to Chicago quite a few times to talk about the future of labor. I spent time on those previous visits talking about specific changes that we've made at the AFL-CIO. We passed measures at our last convention, for instance, to upgrade and to strengthen our state and our local federations of labor. Because I believe that the labor movement grows from the bottom up, not the top down. And the stronger you are, the stronger you are. We passed measures to open the doors to community allies and partners so that like-minded organizations could actually participate in the planning and the workings of the American labor movement. Because we realize something. None of us, none of the progressive groups in this country are big enough to do it alone. But when we come together, we are such an overpowering force, and we represent nearly 90% of the values of the American people. See, those resolutions have put into action, and our organizations are growing stronger all over this country. This kind of thing doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it's a process that we're committed to. And it's a process that needs every one of you to join into, to reach out to community friends and allies, those progressive groups, and bring them in, not as an afterthought, but at the beginning of the process. Because if we want them there on the landing, we have to have them there on the takeoff as well, so that our issues are our issues. See, we've also recommitted ourselves to building a year-round movement for working families. The strength of our labor movement has always come from the grassroots. We organize on the job and in our communities, and we mobilize for elections and for politics. At our last convention, we passed resolutions to strengthen ourselves and extend our actions past the electoral cycle so that we can be ready whenever we need to be, to elect leaders and then to hold them accountable, to support workers who organize, and to fight for and win the things that our communities need. Now, we may not like the results of the election, but let me tell you something. The work that we did this election season has made us stronger because we mobilized, and we're still mobilizing. We're still here, and we're here to stay. We're here for the duration because we've embraced social justice with new energy and with new vigor. We've made a stand for comprehensive immigration reform because it's the right thing to do, because it is the best thing to do, because it helps every American worker. And we wanted to have a real pathway to citizenship for millions of aspiring Americans who live and work in this country today, people who are American in every way but on paper. And right now we're calling for an end to the deportation of our failing families in the aftermath of the killing of a black teenager named Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, by a white police officer named Darrell Wilson. I spoke in St. Louis about the need for our labor movement to be a force for justice and for equality. On the streets, and in the lives of real people in our community. You see, as members of the labor movement, we don't come into existence when we clock in the morning and cease to exist when we clock out at night. We're men and we're women, we're mothers and fathers, we're sons and we're daughters. And what happens to us in our homes and in our communities, as well as on the job, it matters. It really matters. And that's why the AFL-CIO has maintained a presence in St. Louis and in cities across the country to fight for social equality, to fight for access to our democracy, for investment in our cities and towns, mass transit, and America's roads and bridges and highways, rail and waterways. And that's why we also fight against mass incarceration, so that we can end the stigma that happens in the whole generation of workers in this country. We fight so that they can have good jobs and job training for everyone, not just those at the very top. See, I like the theme of this year's event, public and private, organizing in solidarity. Like you, Eddie, I learned about solidarity from my dad. My dad was a miner all of his life. In fact, he died from black lung disease. In fact, nearly every male in my family died from black lung disease. And he knew that every job in and around the mine mattered. That there was no job that didn't matter. And he knew that every life down there mattered. Every single life mattered. Now, my father taught me, and he was right, that we depend on each other. We matter to each other. It's true in the mine and it's true in life, in a grocery store or in a public school, in a hospital or in a factory. We depend on each other. We're connected to each other through the work that we do and in our society and through our democracy. And I got to tell you, America needs some real solidarity these days. Real solidarity. And I guess if you're going to boil down my views on the future of the American labor movement, I'd simply say it's solidarity, brothers and sisters. It's solidarity for every one of us. When people attack the pensions of a public employee and say they're too high, I don't have one, why should they? It's real easy to join into that chorus. But solidarity would tell you to stand with that brother and sister and help those that don't have a pension get one. When a construction worker stands outside of a building because they brought in non-union labor that they pay a pittance under prevailing wage, and you walk by that site, that's not solidarity. Standing with that brother and sister and help that job be done. drink your water and walk on off. Now that's not solidarity. Now too many people in this country have the sense that what's been tried doesn't work. But that's no reason for us to quit, because I can promise you this: solidarity, real solidarity, not lip service solidarity, but real solidarity works. And all you got to do is see it one time. All you got to do is feel it one time, and you'll know for the rest of your days that solidarity works, and it's our job to show the world that solidarity works. It's the rope that binds us. It's stronger than hate. It's stronger than fear. It's stronger than gold. Solidarity works, and as I said, I'm talking about real solidarity, the hard kind, where you need me and I stand with you. And I stand with you when you're most afraid that you stand alone. And we stand together arm in arm no matter the odds. And we welcome brothers and sisters into our ranks because our solidarity proves the strength of human connection. And because together we prove that working people can and must and will